America's downfall won't be caused by foreign enemies, economic collapse, or lack of innovation. It will be destroyed by the very things it was built on: racism, greed, power, and the exploitation of the marginalized. So let's start with racism. America's had a centuries long addiction to white supremacy, from slavery to Jim Crow to mass incarceration to modern day suppression. The system wasn't just built on racism, it still depends on it. And you can't build trust and unity and long term prosperity when the foundation is hatred and division. Now let's talk about the power, because America doesn't just chase power, it hoards it. At the very top, power is concentrated in the hands of a few, bought and sold through billion-dollar lobbying firms and dark money, and the people at the bottom, well, they're distracted and divided and disposable. But power with no accountability always turns inward. It eventually devours its own. Then there's greed. America's true religion. Every institution, healthcare, housing, education, even justice is for sale. The rich don't pay taxes, corporations exploit workers, billionaires fly to space while families can't afford insulin. And no emperor has ever survived when it values profit more than people. And finally, exploitation. This country built its wealth off the backs of stolen people on stolen land. And to this day, it thrives off keeping Black, brown, indigenous, immigrant, and poor communities in struggle. It's modern day plantation capitalism, wrapped in flags and hashtags. But here's the warning. You can only ignore the cries of the oppressed for so long before the system breaks. While America continues to argue about whether racism is real, the rest of the world is moving forward, investing in education, universal health care, green energy, and collective progress. They're building bridges, America's burning them. And yes, if this country doesn't confront its demons, it will collapse from the inside out. Not because of the lack of greatness, but because of its refusal to share that greatness with everyone. The future won't be stolen by guns or war. It will be lost in boardrooms, courtrooms, and classrooms where equity is denied and truth is buried. And when America falls, it won't be a tragedy. It'll be a consequence.
What many people don't understand is that it's over for America. America has seen its best days. You know, there used to be a time when the world looked up to America and thought America was the great example of what a country could be. But all the other countries are catching up. The American people are struggling. Our leadership sucks. The parties are whack. And every single day we're praying for inflation to go down. Unfortunately, everyone's pretending like things are okay. And that's the worst part about it. The next couple of years, we're going to see a huge change in America. Potentially, we may see destruction, we may see civil war, we may see all-out battle between the states. Next presidential election is going to be crazy. And I still love living here. I still love America. But let's be real. All empires fall. And I think America is fallen.
Hello, what's up, good people? I hope you're doing great and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back for another video. Now, if you spend a lot of time in these online spaces, you come across many people, Americans for that matter, black and white, saying that the American empire has reached a point in which its collapse is inevitable, that the decline of the American empire is here. And what I'd love to always say is, no matter what could be happening with the American empire, one thing that America must do is face its own history, acknowledge however dark it might be, but accept that that is the history of that country. Make peace with its own history, however bad, however ugly it looks. When you start seeing millions of Americans, everyday people, complaining about the state of their country, you know something is deeply wrong. It's not about politics anymore. It's about pain. It's about fear. It's a slow but sure realization that something at the very core of the American empire is failing, is collapsing, because it's commonly said that when and where there is smoke, then there's always fire. And right now, America is actually burning from within, and the smoke is billowing. And what we are seeing is the smoke, and then there is definitely is fire. Not because of the enemies from abroad. The collapse of America is not from outside. It's not because of anybody that's attacking from outside. It's because of the lies that the country in itself, the system of what has built America, it's the lies the country in itself is built upon. That's what we want to talk about in this video. And before we go so far, I want to share some of the clips of Americans and what they're saying about the same, and we'll be back with some more good commentary. If it's your first time to the channel, thank you very much for being here. Please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you like it at the end. So I'll see you on the other side.
Donald Trump is running out of money. Personally, the American government is running out of money. Big time. They've now been downgraded twice in regards to their economic status. Trump is getting desperate. So the 10% he's put, 10% extra tariffs he's put on Canada, they are just trying to get more money. You got to remember, this is a guy that bankrupts stuff. So the tariff threats isn't just going to be on Canada, it's going to be on everybody soon. He is desperate for money. He is spending way more than he has. And America is absolutely fucked. As long as this man is president, all you have is disaster, dismay, and disappointment.
When the American empire finally collapses, historians won't be stunned by the greed of the elite. They will be stunned by the loyalty of the poor. That stopped me in my tracks. The working class didn't just vote against their own interests, they worshipped the billionaires robbing them. They slashed their own benefits, gutted their own healthcare, and cheered while the rich wrote off private jets as tax deductions. Not because it helped them, but because they were told it would hurt someone else. And that right there is how you rig a democracy without ever breaking a single law. Some laws were broken, but this tweet makes such an important point. The greed of the elite is expected. What is not expected is the loyalty of the poor, of the working class, to those who are taking from them. That is what is going to be studied in the history books.
US News won't show you this, but I will. For the first time ever, more countries around the world viewed the US negatively than positively. Wanna guess why? The 2025 Democracy Perception Index surveyed over 110,000 people in 100 different countries, and the results are not great for the US. America's global image has collapsed. In fact, even China is viewed more positively than the United States around the world. The US dropped from 22% approval rating last year to -5% this year. According to this index, Donald Trump is the least liked public figure. Only 27% of the people polled view him positively, even ranking below Vladimir Putin. And when asked why, former NATO Security General said, "It's no surprise that opinions have slipped, even among people like me who have spent their lives admiring the United States and what it stood for." He then went on to say that America's credibility is collapsing, and the reason is Donald Trump. He cited Trump's trade wars, bullying allies, engaging in, quote, chaotic diplomacy. And he's right. Sadly, the US is no longer the democratic model to follow.
Economy is great. Wait, no it isn't. It's shit. Nobody can afford anything. Let's explain this disconnect in less than 30 seconds. America's economic output, the entire pie, is getting bigger. But the average American's piece of the pie isn't really growing. In fact, in some cases, it's shrinking. But in other cases, people have huge slices of pie. In 2023, the wealthiest 1% had 30% of America's net worth. That does not mean that we all deserve an equal slice of pie. What it means to me is that it is essential for all of us to activate the power of the stock market to build wealth and make a bigger piece of pie for ourselves.
So I think we can all agree at this point that the US is in serious decline. I've talked about it from the standpoint of education. I've talked about it from the standpoint of economy. You could talk about it from the standpoint of just about any way that we meet people's needs in this country. People are not getting their needs met. It's hard to say when this decline started. I think you could say that it even started in the 1970s, but I think it became apparent in 2016 when we democratically elected a right-wing demagogue, which is what countries in decline do. And I've been pretty clear since about last summer or so that my continuing to stay in this country is a choice to go through a very difficult time in history. And I also understand that the choice to stay is itself very privileged. And I guess I'm making this video partly as a caution and partly as a call to action. As a country declines, there is this pattern of insane concentration of wealth, and those who own the wealth start to engage in a lot of corruption in order to keep the wealth going. And where there once was order and maybe some facade that there was not that much corruption, that is all gone. And the people who are in the middle and the upper middle economically start to get swallowed up by the wealth inequality. And the typical reaction of people who are supposed to have privilege in the society is that they will fight very hard to maintain that position. And so my caution is to let you know that we are not at that place in history where we elect a different representative. We're at that part of history where we rewrite the way that government works, the way that education works, the way that economy works. It's a much bigger change. We're waiting and holding on while this current thing crumbles. We're not building anything. And for those of us who are more privileged, it is time for us to let go of our privilege and some belief that we are supposed to have more money than the people who are marginalized in our society. One of the ways that marketing gets at us is that it throws the wealth inequality in our face and tells us that we need to pretend that we have more money than we have. And most people are just going around pretending that they are in okay financial shape.
And to the US government, I'm never forgiving you for this. And I'm never gonna trust you ever again because you just, like that, took away millions of people's income and livelihood. And who does that? So I'm never trusting you ever again with anything.
So I'm starting to give up hope that there's going to be a Hail Mary moment at the end of this that's going to save this app.
I feel so dumb coming on the internet and crying about an app. But the fact is that this has been a sense of community for me for years now. And it got me through really, really hard times in my life. The pandemic, losing my job, all of that. Getting divorced, like all of this crap that's happened to me in the last 5 years since I've been on here. Hours and hours and hours of time I put into creating stuff for this platform. And I'm not the biggest creator on here. Like I'm not like, I don't have 3 million followers or 10 million followers, but I do have a platform. It's the biggest platform I have. And I worked really hard to make it. On top of that, it's been a source of income for me for going on 3 years now. First, it was just a little bit, but then it got to be more. I'm not like rich off of it, but it has significantly helped my income every month. Hi, Halloumi. And it's been consistent enough that like I've been able to rely on it. So like on top of being just sad that I'm losing my creative outlet and my platform, I'm like worried about like what I'm gonna do financially. And I know like I'll figure it out. Like I've had to do that a million times in my life. Like I'm an artist, I've had to figure it out a million times, but it just like, it sucks that I have to, or that any of us have to. It's so unfair. This is so much more than just an app. Like this is really truly a sense of community that there is nowhere else on the internet. And like, yes, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Red Note now, I'm on Lemonade. I don't even know what that is, but I have 13,000 followers on there. I've literally only logged in twice. But I know that none of it's gonna be the same. I know none of it's gonna be the same. So I guess if this goes away, and for those of you that I don't see on the other apps, I wanna say like, thank you. Thank you to the community that I've had, my little community. I had such a small little corner of TikTok, but it was really beautiful. And I really appreciate all of you guys. all the people that comment on all my videos, even when my views were down and I wasn't getting views, people that would comment, and I always saw you, the same people. I know who you guys all are, and I love you all so much, and I'm so appreciative for the time that we've had. And I can't believe I'm crying like this on the internet. It feels like the pandemic. I haven't done this since then. But it feels like I'm losing like a really good friend, and that sucks.
All right, Trumpers, come and get me. Hey, listen, I saw a video of Donald Trump talking about more tariffs. And no, it wasn't AI, so I don't want to hear you Trumpers saying that we're wanting to go to 100% tariffs on China, 100% tariffs on Mexico, and 100% tariffs on Canada. If he does this, which I don't even know why or how this is even fucking lawful, I thought we were supposed to be going to the Supreme Court to try to stop him from doing this, which I really think the Democrats need to lean in. Shit's expensive enough for the American people as it is, especially the industry that I work in. I see the price of certain things. I'm not going to say where I work, but listen, this is bullshit. And I'll tell you what else is bullshit on top of these tariffs is this government shutdown. This government shutdown is going on 3 weeks. 3 weeks of people that are not going to get paid for over a month at this point. And you people have allowed this. And what I think I love more than anything is the Trump supporters out here that actually worked in government, now that are not getting a paycheck because of their president. And I also know you're going to come at me and say, well, it's the Democrats' fault. Hey, listen, bitch, we just brung in $2 trillion in tariff. Is this exactly what Donald Trump said, about $150 to $200 trillion in tariffs. And all the Democrats was wanting was a few $1 billion to go to Medicare, Medicaid for foreigners. And then you're going to say, well, we're not paying for foreigners. But hey, wait a minute. I thought you voted based on Christianity. And it says in the Bible, treat your neighbors and foreigners as you would your family and relatives. I don't understand where you people have missed the mark on all this. I really don't. But it's real sad. And I think it's all because you're uneducated. And I'm just going to call a spade, or you don't do enough homework on the situation. MAGAs, thanks for fucking us.
I just watched a video about how this woman refinanced her home and how basically she is going to owe way more money than she already owed. Even though her payments are getting lowered, she's still going to owe more money, and talking about how it's such a scam. Yeah, pretty much everything in America is a scam. So health insurance, we pay $500 a month for health insurance, all right? But then you have a deductible. Some things apply to the deductible, some things don't. You have a copay every time that you go, but there's like a max allotted copay. So mine is $2,000 per person, but at like a family max, I think of $5,000 or something like that. Anyway, so I pay $25, when I go see a regular doctor, $50 if it's a specialist, $25 like for my therapy. But if I hit that $2,000 out of pocket, then they cover everything, all right? So you're telling me I pay $500 a month, and then I have a $2,000 out of pocket pay, and then you'll cover everything at 100% as long as it's covered. But that doesn't apply to prescription medication. That only applies to like doctor's visits and things like that. Don't get me wrong, I have pretty good insurance, and I'm very privileged to have insurance, especially in America, but that's insane. That's crazy. Everything is a scam in America, and the new American dream is to leave.
I got laid off from my corporate job yesterday, and I think that this is the reality for a lot of Americans right now, and it needs to be shared because America is not doing well right now. We have a 94% prediction rate that the recession's gonna come, but yet our frickin' administration hasn't even made the move to actually say that a recession's coming. And let's actually call it what it is, a depression. People can't afford groceries, they can't afford rent, they can't afford buying houses, they can't afford having babies, they can't afford having the kids in general if they already have them. We are not in a good spot, y'all. I know that I'm just a number in a company, but I thought I was okay. You're going to think that you're okay because you've worked there for so long or you have the right experience. Like, you guys, I have an undergraduate in marketing, a master's in business, 6 years of paid social media experience, both on a strategist and manager level. I have done people management for at least 3 years. I'm a senior level in my career. And yet, when I was hired to do a senior level role, I was forced into entry level positions. I was doing entry-level work as a senior-level strategist, all while at the same time being asked to reduce my workload with AI, and our team was having layoffs every 3 months. I should have seen it coming. I really should have. But the thing is that it was not something that I saw coming, because the day before that they laid me off, I was literally talking coverage plans with another employee who was going on leave for months. How am I supposed to sit there and not think that I'm safe in that moment? I just think it's absolutely ridiculous that we live in a world like this where, like, my manager wasn't even the one that fired me, by the way, or laid me off. It was frickin' HR, and they read off a script. But my whole team got laid off. And this is the reality for a lot of Americans right now. My partner is a first responder, so I'm very lucky for the fact that I can be leaning on him for support right now, because luckily his job is secure, thanks to the fact that, number one, his job is essential, and number two, he has a union behind him. What I will never understand is why corporate agencies have not unionized. We're not allowed, right? We're not allowed. That's part of it. We'll get fired because, at least in this corporate world, they're always going to side on the side of business because that's what's making the government money. This world right now is not supporting people. It is supporting business. You are just a number, unfortunately. So please prepare yourself for shit like this. I wish I would have. I wish I'd been applying to other jobs months ago. I just was so dumb to not realize the signs. I want to talk about it. I think people need to talk about it. I think we need to make this more public. We all saw the jobs report. It was awful. Getting laid off on the day that the jobs report goes out, and it's 22,000 instead of 75,000 new jobs. You know how discouraging that is? If you know of anything in the marketing space, let me know. Use my comments as a way in which to maybe trauma dump. I don't care, vent. I'm here for you guys. I can't believe this. And I'm really sorry if you're going through this too. Here for you.
On November 1st, families are going to lose SNAP benefits. And you know what else is that Trump stopped shipments to food pantries. So if people need help to food pantries, soup kitchens, things like that, they're not going to have enough food for everybody. They would rather starve people, make sure that we don't have health insurance, make sure we can't afford it, than negotiate with Democrats. It's their job. That's part of being in Congress, is that you have to negotiate. If you don't have enough votes, you have to negotiate to get those votes. Democrats don't want people to lose food and medical insurance, so they're not going to just give them their votes. They need to negotiate. That's part of politics. If you're the great deal maker that you say you are, then you should have had this done by now.
Okay, welcome back. So, listening to those Americans, you can sure understand that it's not just noise, it's a symptom. And it is a symptom of a deep, moral decay from inside. The empire is crumbling because, it was never built on truth. It was never built on justice or fairness. From the very beginning of what America is today, America was built on oppression of peoples of color, the genocide of native populations, Native Americans, the enslavement of black people, and centuries of exploitation and exploiting labor while pretending to stand for freedom. You see, that is the irony. You build your country on forced exploitative labor, but you want to create a picture to the world that, you are the leader of freedom. How can an empire built on lies claim to represent liberty? It's impossible. How can a nation that has never reconciled with its own crimes, expect to be at peace? If America wants peace, then it has to reconcile with the history, the dark history of that country. The truth is, America's biggest enemy is not China. As the political class, as Donald Trump, as the Republicans, or even the Democrats in the political sphere want you to believe, it's not China, it's not Russia, it's not the immigrants from Central and South America, from the Caribbeans. No. It is itself. America's biggest enemy, it's itself. The division we see, black versus white, rich versus the poor, left versus the right, it's all manufactured for a purpose. The elites profit from that chaos. We all know that. They pit Americans against each other. They distract them with culture wars, and make sure nobody ever questions who really benefits from, the These entanglements, these disagreements, but someone is essentially benefiting from lying that immigrants are the problem in America. Someone is basically benefiting. Now, when farmers today are shutting down and closing their farms and filing for bankruptcy, then the corporates of the rich are now taking center stage, buying their lands, buying their farms, and monopolize the industries, So, every empire historically or in history has fallen when it turned against its own people, when greed replaced morality, and when arrogance began to blind the leaders of any empire. The Roman Empire, the British Empire, all of these at some point they thought or they looked like they were untouchables. But just like them, America is now facing its reckoning. Look at the corruption. People complaining about corruption, the endless wars, the collapsing infrastructure, the rising homelessness, the unaffordable failing healthcare in America, the distrust in elections. Every time now there's an election in America, someone else is always going to say, it was rigged, it was stolen, it wasn't fair. There is a lot of distrust and mistrust. These are all signs of decline. If you understand how historically, empires have begun to face their decline. These elites and these politicians, they keep pretending to have solutions. They pass the bills, they hold bold speeches on those podiums and the stages, and debates, they stage debates, but they never really touch the real issues. They just get people distracted because the real problem is the foundation itself of the country. It's built on exploitation. It's built on inequality, and it is built on deception of what the truth of the matter is. The American dream used to inspire people across the world. But now, what's happening today? It's become a nightmare for many people. Amongst them, or leading the pack, are Americans themselves. They're saying the American dream didn't exist in the first place. It was deception, a dream where people work 3 jobs just to survive. And they're still crying, where billionaires and multi-billionaires hoard everything, and where justice actually depends on sometimes how your skin color looks like. If justice is dispensed on the basis of skin color, then you cannot expect fairness from such a system. You can't build eternity on injustice. No way. What we are seeing now, the protests, the chaos, the economic collapse, is simply the truth resurfacing. And sometimes I love to say, Donald Trump might have just not made America worse. He has just exposed what America has always been like, and it's just been under the mask. Or he just couldn't hold on, the mask any longer, because the truth has a way of breaking through piles and piles of lies eventually. No matter how long it's buried, the truth will always break free at some point, and the world and the people will know the truth. So, what we're trying to say basically here is empires fall not when enemies attack from outside. Empires actually fall when their own foundations begin to decay, begin to rot. And that's what's happening. The American empire is shaking because it wasn't built on love, on unity of the people. No, it wasn't built on unity. It is not built on justice. Justice is dispensed on the basis of skin color. It was built on greed, on division, on oppression, on control. And until America really faces the truth, I think, in my honest opinion, its fall won't just be inevitable, but it will be a deserved one. You cannot oppress your way to, surviving to an eternity. I mean, what I'm trying to say is you can't build peace on oppression. No way. So it's time, I believe it's time that America faces the truth, the dark part of its history, make peace with that, reconcile with its own history. And maybe, just maybe by doing that, the collapse might get some help. Yeah, so that's my take. That's my 2 cent take on this. I don't know what you think about it. Do share with me what you think in the comment section below. If you have loved the video, give it a thumbs up as usual. Share it as well. And if you haven't subscribed, then kindly go ahead and subscribe and become a part of this channel. And for more videos like this in the future. And so we've come to the end of this video, and I'll see you in the next video.